This is Titan Talk! Welcome everybody, today is May 26th, almost Memorial Day, and this is episode 5 of Titan Talk. My name is Kimber and I'll be breaking down all the latest details about the newest episodes of Attack on Titan. So, obviously this will be filled with spoilers. We're going to take a look at the plot, character developments, talk about my favorite quote, look at any new Titan developments that came up in this episode, and later I'll go into my predictions for the next episode and talk about some other news in the Attack on Titan media universe. Also, I don't own any of the storylines, characters, or events in the Attack on Titan world, nor do I own any of the rights pertaining to the show. Alright, let's do this, guys! Yeah! So, last episode was super exciting, right? Right? No. Chapter 33, The Hunters. Sounds like it's gonna be exciting and great, but I knew from the previews that it wasn't going to have a lot of action. It was going to be more about character development. Now, I had no idea how the battle between the Armored Titan and Eren and the Colossal Titan was going to end. So that was pretty neat to find out. But yeah, this episode was more about lining up the dominoes for the next episode. I assume the next one's going to be a bit more exhilarating, I guess. Nothing wrong with character development. It's necessary for a great show, but there's a noticeable difference between chapter 32 and this one. So what happened in this episode? Before the opening theme song, we see the Colossal Titan fall. What happened when he fell was that everything just got super hot, but nobody perished, nobody had died. What happened was the Armored Titan bit Eren in Titan form's neck to pull him out of there, and Ymir also was successfully taken as well, so then they're both kidnapped. Okay, and then the opening song started. So I noticed after this, when we got back to the show, the bottom of the wall finally had other Titans there. I think I was just confused as to why they weren't there before during this whole battle. Where were they? We get to the town, and there's a messenger from the group who witnessed this battle, who let the commanders and Levi know about the battle. They then learned about the reappearance of the Armored and Colossal Titans and that Ymir and Eren were kidnapped. Then we get back to Wall Rose. This is where the diving into characters starts, really. Hannes had offered to get Armin some food. That triggered the slide, which we'll talk about later. Then we go into Mikasa's dream. They insinuate that she had had a concussion, so this is her dream while she is concussed. Basically, it takes place before the Titan issue had gotten so out of hand to the point where it is now. In the dream, Eren is fighting 3 other people, 3 bullies, to get his food back for his family. They had taken his food, did not like that, so he's about to fight them. One of the store owners yells over to the soldiers to try and help, but the soldiers don't even get up because they know who's about to show up, and that person is Mikasa. She is already known as a total badass in this era, even before the Titan situation had gotten to where it is now, which speaks to how often she has to defend Eren. Also, in the dream was Armin. He was holding back Eren. I think that was symbolic for how he sees Eren possibly doing something that could get himself hurt or even worse, killed, and he's always trying to see what's best for him and trying to steer him clear of situations that aren't in his best interest. So he was physically holding him back in this dream. Then Mikasa is fighting the bullies, right? But the store owner starts yelling at the soldiers who are drinking instead of helping, and that they let this fight happen. And then Hannes steps in and tries to reason with him, saying that it's not a big deal. Then he gets punched right in the face. So now it's an all-out brawl with the store owner and the soldiers and Mikasa and the bullies and Eren, and Armin's trying to hold him back, and eventually the bullies leave and Eren follows them. The battle is not over for him. He follows these bullies, which speaks to who he is as well. We'll get into more more of these analyses as we get to the character development part of the show. But then we get back to the present situation on top of Walrose. Mikasa wakes up. She is told all about Eren, how he got kidnapped. Armin says, hey, it's been 5 hours and people are still knocked out. We haven't had anybody go chase him because the horses are on the other side of the wall. And this look comes across Mikasa's face. She looked so helpless. I'd never seen her look so helpless before. And it was because she's not with Eren. Eren is not guaranteed to be safe. And then they both spend a bit of time reminiscing about Eren's tenacity together and hoping he's okay. Then Hannes comes back. He finally brings back the food, the crackers that we had seen in the slide. He basically asks why Armin and Mikasa help Eren so often, but then he seems to answer his own question, because then he starts reminiscing about Eren's tenacity in the simpler times, etc. So Armin and Mikasa decide to go and help him, and Hannes gets in on this action too. He says he can't go back to the good old days without those three being together. So the three of them decide to go after Eren, and there was this weird moment where they're all like glaring at each other and eating their cracker furiously. It was like their own little pact, but they're so hungry they're just like, I'm just gonna eat for this pact. Anyways, then we see everyone else waking up, recovering from their concussions, etc. And oh wait, everyone else is gonna go anyway, which I think that kind of bulldozed over that pact that Hannes, Armin, and Mikasa had just made, because it's like, well, the whole team's coming anyway. So Hanji figures out where Bert and Ernie are gonna be. I'm still calling them Bert and Ernie, even though I'm not a fan of them anymore. Hanji figures out that they're in the forest taking a break because that battle was pretty intense. They're in the forest of giant trees. They also probably decided to be here to be out of sight of other titans. Is that a bad thing? As a titan to be in front of other titans? We don't know, because when Colossal Titan had eaten Ymir, we now know that he was just storing her in his body to kidnap her. He wasn't actually just eating her, like I had said in the previous episode. So that kind of takes away the whole titan eating other titans thing. For now. Maybe they do eat each other. I don't know. But then we go to where they went to hide, which was, in fact, the forest of giant trees. We see Eren with no arms and Ymir still healing her limbs, etc. And they kind of exchange some mean glances, some words, etc. Then we get back to the wall, and now all the troops, they have their horses and they're ready to go, and they're headed straight for the forest of giant trees. They want to get there before it's dark so they aren't also fighting a bunch of other titans, which we've seen titans now in the daytime, so I don't know why they still think titans don't move around the daytime. But anyway, they're going out to the forest, to be continued. So this episode ends at kind of a high action point, and it also began at kind of a high action point, because then we see the conclusion of the titan battle, and then it kind of dips down and comes back up in terms of the action. Again, not a bad thing. I get that we have to stack the dominoes before we knock them down. I get that. I'm just impatient. So the slide in the episode, I had already mentioned. The slide was field rations, and what it said on the slide was this: an extremely nutritious ration utilized by the Scout Regiment. High-calorie crackers and canned food are staple rations which can quickly provide soldiers with the necessary energy for their operations without the need for fire. The flavor has been refined so that the taste, and I'm not joking, isn't bad. That is how they described it. And this was shown right after Hannes had offered to get Armin some food. I'm not able to find anything deeper on the meaning of this. I think they just wanted to tell us what the crackers were. The description of the food, saying it isn't bad, it does correlate to Hannes commenting on the taste later on in the episode. He said it didn't taste neither good nor bad. It just was there, really. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for the slide. Like I said, sometimes a cracker's just a cracker. Even in Attack on Titan, cracker can be a cracker sometimes. My favorite quote in this episode was from Hannes, and the quote is, "I'm more than happy to be a drunk, useless soldier." This spoke to, I think, what a lot of them are feeling right now. They're tired. They're exhausted from fighting all of these titans. They're like, when can we stop? When can I just go back to the good old days when life was easy and I could just get drunk on a Tuesday? Where are those days? They miss it. Even Mikasa, in her dream, she dreamt about the very time in life that Hannes had referred to that he wants to return to someday, because he was drinking in the dream. Like, that was such a common thing for him to be drinking on the job and just kind of relaxing, that was how others had seen him. For example, Mikasa seeing him like that in the dream. So I think that was a good summary of how all of the troops are feeling at this point. They just want this to be over with. There's so much going on, so much violence, so many people dead. They just want it to be over. So I want to take some time to talk about the star of the episode, which this time it was Mikasa. She was the focus here. Even in her dreams, she's fighting for Eren. That was a good dream to her. She didn't seem to wake up frightened in the dream. It didn't seem to be a nightmare at all. That is her ideal state, is to be defending Eren. They did not explain why. They just had this dream here. It did feel a bit redundant because we already knew that those two are really close. But I feel like the time we spent in the dream, it was kind of just burnt time. It correlated with what Hannes was saying, yeah. But there was nothing really that new to discover in this dream. And after she had woken up, Armin justifies this dream time as, well, what else are we gonna do? You know, we can't really go after Eren. We don't want to leave, so we're just kind of here for a few hours. So we had time to dive into that dream. And again, we know that Mikasa fights for Eren and has fought for him for a long time. But what I actually want to know is why she does it. Is it just because he is so tenacious that you can't help but root for him and even take a step further and fight alongside him? You know, again, this reminds me of Gurren Lagann, where there's this whole team around Kamina because he is so tenacious. And from that team effort and from his tenacity, he becomes this force to reckon with. And I think the same thing's happening with Eren, except he doesn't have the same kind of ego. If you're familiar with Kamina in Gurren Lagann, yeah, he is he's a character, that's for sure. So I also want to talk about Hannes. We got to learn that he is worn out from this fighting and he just wants a drink. He wants to go back to the good old days and he will do whatever it takes to get back there. He sees this goal at the end is to go back to the old days, and he wants to so badly that he was willing to team up with Armin and Mikasa to go find Eren because he wants those good days back so badly. And even though everybody else decided to go together at the end, it was the thought that counted here. It just kind of spoke to the kind of person that he is, the kind of soldier that he is. You know, no man left behind. I like that. So as for Titan developments here, I mean, we didn't really get anything new. Everything that Hanji had predicted, I think from seeing how everybody, after they change into a Titan, they have to take some time to rest. Her going through the logic of them needing a place to rest, I think was pretty understandable, but it wasn't anything radical to the viewers. We didn't learn anything new here. We were just watching some characters develop. So the next episode, chapter 34, is called Opening. And in this, we see Eren get a bit PO'd in the previews. And he gets so PO'd that his limbs are already healing. We already see his arms come back. But other than that, they were pretty vague in this synopsis. And they had said that they must settle things once and for all. So there are some dominoes that are set up, and hopefully some of them are going to be knocked down in this next chapter. I am excited to see more battling and more Titan fights. I'm not excited to see anybody die, but I'm excited to see more battling. Part part of why I like the show, the battles. So what happened outside of the episode in the Attack on Titan world this week? Nothing big, nothing that really applies to what's happening in the show right now, but this video has resurfaced and has been circulating the internet. It's from a radio show. On this radio show, the voice actors for Connie, Mikasa, and Eren did an interview, and in the interview they together sang the opening theme for season 1, and it's actually pretty hilarious. I have put the link to this video in the caption description area of wherever you're watching this from. The link I had added starts at 4:28, but if you really want to watch the whole interview, you can. That is an option. I can't tell you what to do. Watch it, don't watch it, but start at 4:28, the link that I had linked, if you'd like to hear the song. It's pretty funny, and I think you guys will enjoy it. Alright guys, my name is Kimber. For a hell of a large selection of content, visit itsahellofaworld.com or follow them on their social media channels. You can also follow me personally on my Twitter account. That's Kimber Bobimber, spelled KimberBobimber. If you have any comments about the show, you can leave those on the Titan Talk podcast page. We now have a comment section on there if you'd like to leave your thoughts. If you're trying to comment on the show via social media, the best way for me to see it is going to be my personal account, and that is linked in the caption description area as well. And that has been episode 5 of Titan Talk, guys. Thanks for listening, and attack on!